Hi, you're listening to the GTA Nerdcast. I'm Matt.
I'm Neil.
I'm Cody.
I'm James.
Wonderful, James.
Look at that sound spike.
It's fine.
Okay, so what we're going to talk about today is just our humble beginnings. That's what we're going to title this one. So this is just how we kind of came off of our first big D&D campaign and started to shift and started to learn as both players and DMs into other D&D experiences.
What a nice way to word it.
Yeah. So what do you want to start with?
Yeah, so our first video on this channel is Lord of the Rings campaign that was DM'd by someone we titled Dumbo in that video. And he was the only one, he was exclusively DMing at that point, I think.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like
We I think we tried to boot up a couple others, but they all went to shit.
well, that happened like after his campaign.
Well, I had my campaign like that was completely like from scratch, my own lore, my own everything. It wasn't based on anything. That was kind of running during Lord of the Rings, I think.
Oh yeah, it was.
Just towards the end.
It was running a little bit towards the end. Basically, what was happening near the end of our Lord of the Rings campaign was that Dumbo, the DM, we were trying to really power through and get it over with. Just rip off the Band-Aid.
Yeah.
So we were really pushing him to put out, to write the content as quick as possible. And he couldn't keep up, which was completely fine because we were really kind of on his ass. So other people started to fill our role-playing gap with adventures of their own. So yeah, do you remember what yours was called?
Sort of. It was...
Didn't you have two?
Well, what happened was I'd started one, and my issue was...
Wasn't it Dumbo? Wasn't the issue Dumbo?
Well, I think that was more the second one, because, like, I think it was Matt, James, Cody, and Fitzy. I don't think Blake was involved in the first one.
Wait, was that nature damage?
Yeah.
That would have been the second one.
No, wait. I don't remember.
Either way.
Yeah, it was something like... it was called The Quest. And I'd even created, like, some of my own races, and it was... I think the biggest issue was, looking back at it now, is I kind of did what Dungeons & Dragons 4th edition did, was just trying to make everything more like an MMO. So, like, I had, like... I think something in the neighborhood of like 22 classes, but that's including subclasses, and then they all had their own abilities, and each ability cost so much. So it was becoming more and more like an MMO where it's all ability based rather than like combat, like raw combat and conversation based.
Also,
which is really what D&D is.
You wrote all of that stuff out. And then we picked like 4 classes.
Yeah.
And all of the other ones fell by the wayside, right?
Yeah. And then I think the first run, I think we played for about 3 or 4 sessions, I want to say.
It was something like that.
Yeah, and then I just kind of thought, well, it's not working out very well. And I know Dumbo wanted to give it a try. So I kind of reset the whole thing. And then he just, boy, oh boy. You all kind of made the same characters in a way. With a few exceptions being, I think Cody made a different character. But Dumbo decided to make a ice... No,
it was a priest. A passive priest.
Oh yeah, sorry, it was a passive priest.
The
reason I thought ice is because its name was Snowbellarella. Yeah. So, they were fighting a demon in an ice town. That's also probably what made me thought of it. It was in like a northern town. And this giant elemental demon showed up. And everyone's like getting right into battle. So when it comes to Dumbo's turn, I say, well, what do you want to do? And he's like, well, I'm a pacifist. I'm like, what does that even mean? He goes, oh, I don't fight. I'm like, so what are you doing here? Like, what do you mean you don't fight? He goes, yeah, I know, I'd find something else to do. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, so I guess what kind of happened is that we were all kind kind of enticed by the idea of DMing once we started to kind of get the hang of it and started to realize that maybe Dumbo's campaign isn't the only thing, and started to realize that, hey, we're not having as much fun as we did. So anything that he was involved in, he would intentionally sabotage.
Pretty much.
Yep.
That was the worst. We tried to start up like 3 or 4 different campaigns.
Talk about yours.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Alright, so I started up a campaign that I based off of Final Fantasy X. Now, I was really excited to get this thing started.
Oh, we were all excited for it.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. And I had a good system in play, and I had a way of deciding like who was going to be a summoner just based off of their initial class and race. And it turned out that through this system, Dumbo was going to be the summoner. Now, the summoner is like the key character for this thing. It made them a little more important than everyone else, but everyone was like accepting of that. Until Dumbo started doing what Dumbo started doing. There was a restricted area on the beginning island because later in the map they could have gone back and there were stronger monsters there. So I basically told them like, this area of the island is restricted, don't go there. Literally every NPC is telling them, please don't go there, you're going to die. And Dumbo fucking runs right on in and almost dies.
Didn't you do that twice?
He tried to do it twice, but I got the NPCs to stop him the second time because they were like, we almost had one of our townspeople killed because you decided to run into the restricted forest because you're a dick. He then proceeded to fuck with Blake's character.
Yeah.
Who had a projectile for like attacking. If anyone's played Final Fantasy X, they were a blitzballer, so they used a blitzball to attack, and the Dumbo kept stealing the blitzball. He just stole it and would run away with it.
I think he roofed it.
Yeah, he tried to roof it at one point. It was ridiculous. He was doing everything he could to fuck with everyone, make everyone else miserable, and not enjoy it. And so, like, I didn't continue after the first session because the amount of everyone was just sick of his shit.
Thank goodness I never played that.
Yeah.
And then I also tried to boot up my own campaign, which was based off of the anime/manga, whatever, Claymore. And he made a character for that as well. I think everyone made characters for that. And then within the first session, he managed to, like, I don't even remember what he did at this point.
He tried to drink Neil.
Yeah.
At one point.
He held a sword to my throat.
Yeah.
For defending myself.
He was helping me just be a dick.
So basically what happened was he was targeting every other party member and telling me, the DM, like, oh, you have to make me interested in the story. You have to make me interested in the story. Which was what I was trying to do, but he wasn't allowing that to kind of happen. And I think that when you're getting ready to play a campaign, it's your duty as a player to find a way to be interested in that story.
Yeah, help the DM.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like, for example, it's not like, oh, someone's doing a Star Wars campaign. Well, it's not, well, everyone interested in Star Wars is going to do it. It's not like one person's is going to go, oh, hey, I'm not interested in Star Wars, but I'm still going to do this campaign even though I fucking hate it.
Well,
yeah.
The other thing I kind of think is if you're going to make a character, then you have to make that character invested in the story. Because if you're just going to play yourself, obviously you're not going to be invested in the story if it's not something you would like. Like, that's why it's called a role-playing game, because you're playing the role of someone you're not.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Just also like to mention how this was called a humble beginnings, and all we've had to do so far was complain about Dumbo.
Yeah, well, he was kind of our D&D beginnings. He was like our DM.
I mean, he wasn't our humble beginning.
Oh boy.
Maybe we can just quickly talk about probably the worst thing he ever did, for me anyway, was his character.
Which one?
66.
Oh, that's once we actually get into the mini
we should
matches.
talk about how we started up the system first.
Sure. I think that's more Matt.
Yeah. So what we were doing was, during those content lulls, we realized that he was going to fuck up any campaign that we tried to run. So we started running one-shots, which most people who play D&D, that's typically what they do, is just run one-shot adventures, or maybe 3 or 4 session adventures. We were just doing little one-shots. You made a disposable character, played through the story, through the dungeon, through whatever it was, and then that was it. That was the end of the story. You got your loot and your character moved on, or they died, right? It was simple enough, and we enjoyed doing them here or there. I think we did like 5 or 6 of them.
Yep.
We had a fun time with them, though, and then the Lord of the Rings campaign came to an end. Now, Dumbo said that he was going to work on a part 2, and then kind of dropped it. So here we are. We've tried to run campaigns, and he's ruined them. He's run a shit campaign and is kind of refusing at this point to run the second part. So what we ended up doing is developing our own system and our own universe to play Dungeons and Dragons in. So we call it our mini-map system. So instead of playing one-shot maps that the characters are dispensable and you kind of throw them away, it's a universe, and all of the stories take place in this universe. So we would play the same characters and make new characters, and they would join up with the adventuring team. So every time we started a map, it's like, okay, which one of your dudes are you playing now, right? So it's just a way that we introduce kind of continuity to our playing, and it's almost like a campaign in itself. Like, there's been overarching stories that have taken place in this universe that we've created with all of our characters and all of our stories interconnecting with each other.
It's really interesting with the way we did it now, because like we feel like certain of our characters bond with each other in this world, and when just this disposable character dies, it has an impact on like everyone else.
For sure. Like one of Blake's characters, when they died, I remember being upset because that character was like kind of a brawler type character, and I was like, that's someone that one of my characters, who's also a brawler type character, his name's Gabriel. I was like, that's someone who he potentially could have really gotten along with, and they were kind of on neutral terms at the encampment, which is the place where all of our characters stay in this universe. So that's essentially how we developed our kind of world, and we built the system so that it could run while we're playing our adventures in this world. So what were you mentioning about his character?
Well, we all had our like first character, and I don't think any of us have our first character anymore. Maybe you.
I don't know.
No.
None of us.
So I almost said his real name. It's Dumbo.
There you go.
He who shall not be
Who shall not be named. Always had like the weirdest and kind of worst and overpowered characters. So I don't know if it was first character, but it was definitely like one of his first, was something called an inevitable, which I believe is like a construct who is given like a specific task or duty, and they like go to the ends of the earth to finish this task, and they can't like stop until they finished it.
He's a robot.
Yeah. So he's a robot, which I'm fine with. I have a robot type character, but made it max weight limit, I believe.
Yeah.
Max height limit.
No. It
No?
was like 6 foot.
Okay. Gave it gold wings. Wings made out of solid gold.
Because that works.
Because obviously he didn't know anything about physics. And then he had retractable chains in his hands that could shoot like electricity through them. So basically a built-in elemental weapon to his character, which is ridiculous.
Now, remind you, this is a medieval universe.
Yeah.
And he's playing that.
Yeah.
So basically pit that robot that weighs 1,000 pounds, can fly, has chain lightning whips that shred your skin, against Timmy the warrior with a sword and shield. Yeah.
Timmy.
And
Good old Timmy.
And the other issue with that character was I remember like having to DM it a couple times, and he would like fly up and then dive bomb a beast, and then I'd be like, yeah, you take damage. He'd be like, why? I'm like, because you just hurled yourself straight towards the earth. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I made it metal. Yeah, but that's all you're made out of. Like,
you're damaging your innards.
Yeah,
whatever it is, right? I think that's something interesting. That's one spot where we've really come a long way. Is I think at first people were making these characters. It's like, oh, they're going to be powerful and they're going to be this, they're going to be that, and now we're all to the point where we're making actual characters instead of just a name with numbers behind it. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of our characters have strengths for sure, and that's why we love them. That's why we play them. But we also love them and play them for their weaknesses as well, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, your character Ezeki.
Ezeki, yeah.
Yeah, he's kind of like a moody teenage bitch.
Yeah. He's trying to be an edgelord, but it ain't working.
He's really fun to play though, because he struggles with like some of the dilemmas that come up that no one else would struggle with, because he's a moody teenage bitch.
Yeah. Exactly. So yeah, building these flaws into the character isn't a bad thing. It definitely just kind of adds to the story.
So do you want to do like your first maybe 3 earliest characters you can remember?
Ooh, I made a character. My very, very first character was named Galatea, which is a name from Claymore, actually, and I just made them a half-elf hunter. My second character was a rogue named Alderan. He's actually still around and decently high level to this day. Nobody could remember the name Alderan, so he's known throughout the encampment as New Guy. And
Well, not that new.
apparently not. He was my second character. And then I think I made a warlock, which I might have played once and scrapped. Yeah, I typically don't like the magic classes as much.
So I think the earliest like 3 characters I can remember. Definitely my first one was a mage, a character I had like wanted to put in a story of some sort for the longest time, who had the ability to, like, he didn't have a natural heart. His heart was taken from him in his lore. And so if he fought something, he could take the heart from that creature and replace his own with magic. And he would gain some sort of bonus. Not like something super great, but maybe like if he replaced his heart with a tiger's heart or whatever, he would gain a speed boost or something. And then I think I just lost the character sheet, and I remember Dumbo or whatever his name is, not letting either works, not letting me play that character again because I lost the character sheet, which was ridiculous. And then my next 2, I won't go into such a big description of, a gladiator named Crixus, who unfortunately is no longer with us, who was probably my favorite character up until I lost him. Which I can't remember how I did, but that's on the board.
I killed him.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And then my third most earliest remembered character is, look, it's not going to make a lot of people proud, but I made an Apache warrior who I played to the highest degree of racial, like, profiling, I guess is what you would call it. Like,
he was out to fight the white man.
yeah, essentially. He joined like another campaign that Matt had started, and his whole like deal was to basically sell information to each side to screw the other side over, because he was all about protecting the land. And needless to say, he didn't last very long.
I guess I'll start next, and I remember my first character. I really enjoyed playing him. His name was Vike, and I started him off having gauntlets with boost capabilities, and what those essentially did was add a lot of momentum to his like swings and punches, and he was just a really fun guy, and I kind of played him like a fatherly figure.
An old Ned Stark.
Yeah, and eventually he died to a whole bunch of demons in hell.
I killed him.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a common theme.
Yeah. My second character, I based off of Milo Thatch from Atlantis, and he is still around today. I made him an ice mage, and he is up there in the ranks, I believe.
He's one of our highest.
I think he's like the second highest.
Yeah. And the third I can remember making, I think my third one was Luna. And she was a rogue that I based around the speed stat opposed to stealth. So like her gimmick was like just running in, taking what she wanted, and then getting out of there, not really care if she's being seen or not, because she'll just outrun anyone. And she died as well because she got caught.
Yep. Because I ratted her out.
Yep. Thanks, James.
Boy, you're a horrible person, James.
Hey, 2 of those kills that I said so far were through DM kills. All right. Not my fault. Okay, so after looking through my character graveyard, which is conveniently hanging up on the wall, I can actually recall people. All right. So the first character I have ever made, his name was Blamblegam. All right, like Oh Black Betty, Blamblegam. That hidden lyric no one knows. And essentially, he was a devil. All right, he was just like your standard devil. And if he went into below health, for all those Devil May Cry fans out there, he went into a little something called Devil Trigger. So basically, he gained 8 levels when he was below 10 health. And how he died was cutting off someone's leg, going in a circle at top speed while I get cut in half. It was great. And I think I ran over a couple traps too.
Oh,
Yeah.
so many traps.
Yeah.
I killed him. I remember that.
Yeah, you killed him.
You charged at him like full force, spinning through the air into a room full of traps, and I was like, I mean, you're not going to stop you. Go for it.
Yep, and I had an amulet that just let me go through the damage.
Yeah.
It was just, I cut off his leg, which was cool, and he kind of killed over.
Speaking of humble beginnings, that sounds so unbalanced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come a long way since then.
Really?
Yeah.
What are your other guys?
The other one is actually a character that's still around today. I couldn't believe it when I made the realization just now. His name is Big Zam.
Oh, shit.
He's Ryu from Street Fighter, basically. He has the red bandana. He has the white karate gi. He has a Hadoken. He shoryus and Tatsumakis like no one's business. He is my most balanced character.
Yeah?
I don't know how he's still alive. God damn, he should have died so many times.
Well, you can kind of thank me.
Yeah, I
Because
mean,
he did get killed, but then through a mini campaign thing I was doing, I saved him with like an NPC after our dear friend cut his head off.
Yeah, that was great. That was a great time. And the third earliest character I remember that I have on me, because I can't find the other guy for some reason. He's probably with my other characters. I just never put him with the D&D graveyard. My pirate Richard. Yeah, he was a swell guy. He just wanted to sail the 7 seas, fall asleep before threesomes happened, sell some dragon eggs. It was a good time.
Your standard pirate.
Your standard pirate stuff, And then he got killed by someone. I forget who shot the bow out of the rotting
That was
who shot the arrow out of the rotting bow with 2 strength and hit with how much dex?
I don't even know.
2 dex?
2 decks.
For 10 damage?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, good, yes.
rest in peace.
Rest in peace, you pirate. And he was the most decked out at the time.
Is that your third guy?
That would have been my third with all the legendaries on it.
Yeah.
Literally had the most legendaries at the time. It was beautiful.
One thing that kinda came to mind as we've been talking about our characters is that though Dumbo's campaign had come to an end, he still had a little bit of a stranglehold on our kind of system. Like from what you were saying, like he wouldn't let you keep that character anymore because you lost the sheet or whatever. He wouldn't let you rewrite it.
Yeah.
And I guess to be honest, Dumbo and I had written the system for our what we called our mini-map system together, but I did like 99% of it, so he just kind of stopped having interest in it,
Yeah.
A good thing about our mini-map system too is that it allows everyone to have their own kind of DMing style in the universe, and we have like a world map and draw each of our areas on the map. And we can all have our own DMing style within the same universe. Because, like, I know my maps, I take a lot more influence from, like, dark fantasy.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Like, I'd say yours are, like, more, like, high fantasy. Yeah. Blake's are very anime-esque.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get a lot of influence from anime and video games and fantasy. I think more from video games from me, though. Like the old Final Fantasies and such like that.
Mm-hmm. What are some things that we were doing very poorly early on? Because we've all DM'd now.
Yeah.
What were some things that we were doing like really poorly early on that we can remember?
I would say our spell system was very whacked out and overpowered, and like spells were doing crazy amounts of damage for not much mana.
Mm-hmm.
And I think now we kind of have it in place where there's a sort of general understanding on how a spell should be made if you're going to give one out.
Mm-hmm.
But like, back when we started playing the minimap system, it was just kind of like, hey, I had a really cool idea for a spell, and I put it in a map, and it's super overpowered, and like no one said anything.
Mm-hmm.
That was you a lot.
Well,
We just let you put in OP shit just so we can use it for like 5 maps and then go, yeah, this is pretty busted.
Well, and I
then
did
nerf
it. I did it with weapons mostly. I think I even gave out like a dragon mount at one point, and
You gave out 3 dragons in one map.
Yeah, well, everyone kind of did that too. Like, I know I put a spell called Meteor in, which I intended to have one effect, and it was taken differently by, like, everyone who was a part of that map, and then it just never kind of got corrected. But it wasn't overpowered at the time, because it could have been used once, but as we got more powerful, it could have been used, like, 3 times, 4 times in a combat, which just kind of broke things, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I know the most ridiculous thing I put in was a sword that could stop time when it's drawn from its sheath. Yeah. I think we've gotten a lot better at giving out loot and speaking up when we think, oh god, that is too overpowered. Why are you putting in this? And when it's an easy map.
Mm-hmm.
Fix it.
Fix it.
I think one thing that we've improved on is like thickening the description as like kind of a narrative approach to storytelling would call it is it's no longer okay, you get into town, like you see like the tavern, that's where you're supposed to go. That's kind of where we started out, but now it's like you get into town, you see there's a parade going through the street, there's bright colors on the flags, like this da-da-da-da. Like we can actually like create an environment much better now. I think that's one area we've all improved.
I remember one piece of criticism I got like early on, and it was actually from James, was that was that a lot of the way I was doing a map or reading from my piece of paper, or I guess it was just the way I wrote it, was like I was writing or reading a novel. So like the players didn't feel as engaged because it just felt like I was telling a story that was already set.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's like something I took into consideration.
Yep.
And at least I hope I fixed it.
Oh, you have fixed it immensely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
It's no longer, it feels like we're going from point A to point B and we can't control what we do.
Yeah. Well, I'm a control freak, so.
Mm-hmm. Everyone is like, there's I guess a couple different types of DMs, like the people who over prepare and under prepare, and like I feel very comfortable when I've prepared a lot, but when I'm winging it, oh my goodness.
I mean, I personally feel more comfortable when I wing it than when I over prepare it.
Yeah.
If I can just go, I just go.
Everyone's different. Right?
And you want to know something, James?
What?
When you wing it, or because you wing it is the reason we have so few characters.
I know, because then you guys roll double zeros, and oh look, there's a dragon.
Yeah.
Not my fault. You guys roll shit travel checks.
Yeah, so our whole system overall has become more balanced and stuff like that. But I think as DMs, we've been able to, like, bringing it back to the fact that we've created this world in this, like, system that we play in. We've all been able to create identities with characters as well as NPCs. Like, I know a lot of people have introduced NPCs that have been almost as meaningful, if not more meaningful, than actual characters at some points, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, I'm thinking of the priest Shauna. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Meredith.
Fuck that bitch.
See,
Still important.
I didn't make Meredith, but Meredith is a great
Meredith
character.
made herself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So we've definitely come a long way. Does anyone have any last kind of thoughts before we close this up?
I got heads.
Good job.
He flipped a coin.
For some reason.
I think I'm just like very happy with how far we've come, and I can't wait to see like how far we go.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't played as much lately, but
Every time I think like there's nothing left to fix, we always find something to fix, and I'm like, this. I guess this is my own ego because I made like 99% of what we do. Whenever there's a like chink in the armor, I'm like, fuck you guys. Like, I made the system, it's flawless. How could there be any flaws in my system? And then we fix it, and it's like so much better. And I'm like, oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, there we go. Better. Don't do it again.
Yeah.
I think the main reason that the system is as good as it is now, and the reason we've been able to iron out like all the problems, is because it's not just one person controlling everything.
Yeah.
Like it was when Dumbo did his
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings. Like we had no input onto how the game was played, and now, even if we don't come to like a civilized agreement, it's still good to like air it out and say, look, I have a problem with this, or like, can we consider changing that? And just talking about it is good.
Yeah, I'd say we're like so much more open with fixing things that we've put in, or like whatever it may be. If someone puts something in, a lot of us like on the spot will be like, oh, like, are you sure? Like that seems like a hefty reward for the quest we just did. Yeah, we're just a lot better at kind of balancing things as we go, and more willing and able to talk to each other about that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Which is
that's just us growing as people.
Aw.
Not me. Far from me. I'm still 4. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Yeah, whenever we suggest a change, James sticks his fingers in his ears and goes, la 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 la.
And then I proceed to poop my pants and want them to change it.
Yeah. By the way, it's Cody's turn next.
Okay, should we wrap this bad boy up?
Yeah.
I think so.
All right, well, thank you everybody for listening to our humble beginnings, and we'll have a few more D&D stories coming for you soon. Thank you.
Good night or day. Goodbye.
See ya.
See ya.